This is a tutorial for Vord Skip that will go over different techniques used by runners. This glitch is hard to perform, and if it only is saving seconds, it's not advised unless going for an optimal time. Vord Skip is a skip that utilizes the dev cam to stop the game from loading in surrounding areas. This is used to prevent the doors of Vord's arena from loading in. The banner can be raised, allowing us to be transported to the undead settlement without fighting Vord. However, the banner from Emma still needs to be obtained or you can't be transported. Because the banner is still needed, a ladder warp is used to make the skip viable. There are two ways it is achieved. The first is performed by looking at the ladder with the character offset from its center, turn the camera around to look at the hollow archer. You want to lock on and then shortly after hit the ladder prompt. When you move over to the center of the ladder but turn around to face the hollow, you have done it correctly. This gives a nice visual cue and works with the second version. Instead of locking on, you want to interact with the ladder as you get hit by the arrow. The character moves but does not climb the ladder, letting you know it worked. You want to drop down and make your way to Emma to get the banner, and once you received it, quit out. Instead of being put outside the Dancer boss arena, you will load in at the bottom of the ladder. This saves a lot of backtracking time, but also puts us where we are going to perform the Vord Skip. I'm using the Dark Souls 3 practice tool to see the collision meshes so you can see what's going on. I also have my inputs on screen. WASD is obviously to move around. Shift or side button are used to dash or roll. Left click is my right weapon attack. And finally Alt is used to walk. We want to follow this plank that juts out and fall down below to this pillar. This is the hardest part and looks easier than it really is. A lineup is used to fall down correctly, landing on the pillar. Here is my lineup with the AI currently disabled, but in a run there will be 2 archers shooting you while attempting this. Foot placement is key, and runners know that they will get pushed by an arrow and factor that into their foot placement. You want to place your foot at the same place every time. In this example, the right foot is far out on the pointy part of the plank. This is followed by moving the camera to place your head in alignment with the pillar. I put my head directly on the pillar and tap W. This will reorient the character without any major movement. I then hold Alt and W to walk off, but just before I fall, I press A as well. And this will turn the character to fall into this corner of the pillar. This was the difficult part in my opinion. You need to get the angle you walk off right, or you fall to your death, and good luck getting a quit out in time. Later in this video, I will have demonstrations of other lineups from different runners. There will also be a controller version in the description, but it's easier on mouse and keyboard. Once on the pillar, look forward and walk forward slightly to the right until you fall. Spam the roll button while holding forward and you should land safely down below. Sometimes you may land on the railing, so be ready for that. Now that we can freely move, I'll explain the dev cam state a bit more. The game is now controlling with tank controls. What this means is the character moves where the character is facing instead of where the camera is facing. This new movement takes a bit to get used to, but you want to hold forward and use the left or right slightly. Whenever you see me want to turn the character, I am only lightly tapping the button. Here we drop down from this area. I roll through the armor, destroying it before what looks like phasing through the fence. The top-down view tricks the brain a little bit as there is no fence there. I hope I'm not the only one who thought there was. In Vord's boss room, there is one thing you must avoid, and that is triggering the cutscene. At the large thorny door, there is an area where you can trigger the boss fight, but this will take you out of DevCam, forcing you to fight Vord. Instead, where the door would be, stay as far to the side as you can so as to not trigger the fight. Once passed, you do not have to quit out. Keep running until you get the banner prompt and activate it. This will transport you to the undead settlement and remove the dev cam. I'm going to show some of the top runners' techniques for this skip, but there are likely other techniques I do not know about. These runners' current PBs will also be linked in the description. I will also show my recreations of their methods after theirs. First, I will have AI disabled and meshes visible, and second, I will have AI enabled with no meshes visible. Pay attention to where the feet are placed, camera alignments, movements, and actions. When you find a method that works best for you, practice. You want to build consistency in foot placement, camera movement, and just overall smoothness. This glitch won't come easy, but over time you can build up muscle memory to make it more consistent.